Explorer, you've arrived at the threshold of an epic journey where self-love meets fitness. Gather your courage as we seek to challenge the limits of our bodies, become mentally resilient, and learn to cherish ourselves for the beautiful individuals we are. Along the way, we'll be joined by incredible mentors in the pole and fitness community who will share their wealth of knowledge to help you blossom. This is the Pole Adventures podcast, and your adventure starts now. Welcome, explorers, to another episode of Pole Adventures. I'm your host, Paris, an eternally struggling pole dancer, here to bring you the wisdom of Miglena, the pole dancer. If you've ever looked up pole online, you've probably come across one of Miglena's many tutorials on anything and everything. She specializes in putting the dance back in pole dancing and is an expert in making every move appear absolutely effortless and fluid. So, of course, that's what I'd love for us to explore today. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, thanks for having me. So glad to be here.
I'd love for you to tell us a bit about your pole adventure. What was your why for pole?
Yeah, so I started in August 2013. I basically saw a pole dance video on the internet, and I just fell in love with the dance, and I just looked at it and I was like, I want to do this. So quickly Googled pole dance Berlin and went to trial class. I was the only person there. I was
Really?
hanging on my leg. Yeah, it was not popular. I didn't even know that there's such thing like pole dance studios and schools. So yeah, it felt like a private lesson. And yeah, I was hanging on my leg upside down in that lesson. Probably not the best way to start pole dancing, but it got me pretty hyped. I was like, awesome, imagine what I can do in 4 or 5 lessons. So yeah, I started taking classes. These were already group classes, still a very small group back then. A few months later, there was a new studio opened up, and I switched because I was not quite happy with the quality of teaching in that first studio. So I switched to another studio. Huge difference in the teaching, because back then teachers were self-taught. There was no reference about what you're supposed to teach, what the pole curriculum is. Like, what do you teach? You just taught what you know, what you knew.
Yeah. Everything was still getting started.
That was really good. A huge difference. I just started taking classes. I think I took classes 2 twice per week. Something like 3 classes, maybe 3 or 4. And then 1 year later, so 1.5 years into my pole journey, the teacher asked me the studio owner asked me if I want to teach. And that possibility didn't even cross my mind back then. I never liked being in a spotlight in front of people. But I was like, wow, I don't know, yeah, let's give it a try. Very insecure at the beginning. I don't think I was a good teacher at the beginning. But with time, I got pretty nerdy about, teaching technique, and I noticed how this improved my own technique. So the biggest part of my pole journey has been actually teaching, but I continued being a student for, I think in total, 3.5, maybe 4 years. I kept taking classes and learning myself. I did participate in a couple of competitions. I really like performing in studio showcases in the studio, but I realized that competitions, maybe not for me. A lot of pressure. But I do enjoy performing. And since I would say, was that 2017, 5.5, 6 years. Yeah, exactly 6 years. Wow. I started my online business with pole dancing, teaching pole dancing online, which back then I thought, before the pandemic and everything, I thought was I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I did like 2 years research just to validate, to make sure, are there people out there who want to learn that at home? And are they willing to pay, and do they trust me and everything? Can I actually teach them, or are they interested in learning from me, and so on? Yeah, it turned like nowadays it's pretty normal to take online classes after the pandemic. Back then was a deep leap. Yeah, and it's been my full-time job since then, and I love it. I love the flexibility of teaching from anywhere in the world. I'm currently in Argentina, but I live in Berlin, so in the winter I travel, and that has been, it's basically a dream. It feels like a dream job, just being able to take this with me. I travel with my pole. Logistically, not super easy. I pay every time for taking the pole in the flights, in the airplane.
Why? Because it's super heavy, or
It is,
you know?
yeah, like it's basically sports equipment.
Oh
Often
yeah.
I just say, like when I buy the ticket online, because there is no option for pole, for
Yeah.
dancing pole, right? So I just register it as surfboard or ski or golf. Yeah, because it's otherwise they're probably gonna charge it as overweight luggage, which is super expensive, or something else, or they not at all. Like I tried the very first time. I said, "I have a pole here. How can I get it with me?" And they were so confused that I stopped saying that it's a pole. And it's like
It's just,
20 kilo.
it's just my pole-shaped surfboard.
Exactly. Just like golf sticks, long golf sticks. One, no, it's several because it's extensions. Yeah. Yeah. So that
And
is
for our
my,
fellow nervous beginners, do you have any embarrassing pole moments to share?
oh, let me think. As a beginner, just generally, I I cannot really recall much. But I mean, the very first competition that I did, it just not go as I imagine it, as I wanted to go. The music started very early. I was basically surprised by by
Oh,
the song already, being played. Did not breathe during the entire performance. I cannot watch the video until today. So this is something I would say I'm kind of like embarrassed of, although it's not a really embarrassing moment, but it's not something I'm proud of either. So yeah, I don't like this. But I do have to admit that sometimes I have some nightmares, actually. There was
really?
nothing really happened, but I do sometimes dream that I'm in the spotlight, I'm on stage, and I am not prepared. Like, I don't have a choreography, and I basically have to freestyle or just, do something. And
That's
yeah,
really interesting since you're like one of the freestyle people.
yeah, but yeah, being in front of the audience, it's a different thing.
Different, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah,
do
so
definitely have this nerve-wracking moments, especially before performances. It's like, no matter how experienced you are, like you get better with confidence, but yeah, it's still a thing.
Yeah, because you were the person that I found when I wanted to actually try and improve the dance part, and I think that video that I first watched was about what to do with your hands, like what are you doing? Ugh.
Awesome, you watched
Yeah,
that, amazing.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I improved, but you're a great teacher.
Awesome,
But so
thanks.
yeah, I'd love for you to tell us how you can get started being a better dancer and find your flow.
Yeah, I think that the best way to start is to actually let go of the pole and work a little bit with your body. So basically what happens on the pole is that there is so much technique. There is so much to think about. There's so much coordination, like the opposition, the momentum. You have so much things to figure out there. Like the brain is so focused on the technique and the moves that it easily ends up looking stiff, not dancey and not fluent. And I think you should first start working on your body awareness. Like, of course, you keep learning, working with the pole, but also start working off the pole. And that means understanding, for example, how your body is connected. Let's say, like how one body part initiates a movement and how this movement continues through your body. Like it's the spine connects the entire your entire body. So if you do something with your head, this would affect basically your entire body. It should affect. Or let's say you start a wave with your hand. They should go up the elbow, up the shoulder. And if there is a disconnection there, it looks less organic and less natural. So there's this idea of the one body part leads the movement and the rest of the body following. So it's good to be aware of which body part is leading the movement and what is following. I think the best exercises of the pole to start with and the foundation are isolations that if you went to dance classes, some of dance styles have these exercises maybe as a warm-up. And isolation means isolating a small part of your body and engaging small muscles there while keeping the rest still. For example, a chest pop without moving the shoulders and the arms and the rest of the body, like front and back or to the side. And in order to do this, you need to engage very specific muscles. And you need to do that with precision and control. And so later, after that, once you do this with your chest, with your head, with your shoulders, with all body parts, and you practice this, then you start coordinating this move. So when you start putting more layers, let's say chest, then head, then other movements, then the movement we should stay as clean as possible. If you don't have that body awareness and that muscle engagement in the smaller body parts, then it easily becomes messy. And also when you engage these muscles, you actually start to feel the movement. Yeah, and that is the problem, if you don't feel it, you can see if someone does not really engages the muscle and doesn't feel the movement. Yeah, and then you translate it to the pole. Yeah, I do have a course that is exactly about that. It's called Body Awareness and Fluidity. I teach kind of like key dance techniques in that course. different body parts, we explore them to really like feel the movement, know what it's supposed to feel like, and then we take it to the pole. And then you also have like some flow specific, pole specific flow principles. For example, pivoting long on the bow of your feet instead of, trying to get rid of unnecessary steps. As long as you're pivoting on the bow of your foot, you are in a continuous flow. Or another flow principles is, I like to teach, is sliding and gliding your hands on the pole instead of just re-grabbing or just grabbing, That, I think that makes a big difference. And these are things that you can easily, like very easily implement into your dance. And I think they immediately change the quality of your dance.
Yes, I saw an exercise where you like basically don't take your hands off the pole. You always have to like touch it somehow, which makes you aware of moving with that, and trying to make it look pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can you can change the position of the hands without losing the contact with the pole. Because the problem, I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it always. Of course, you let go of the pole, but having longer contact or more contact helps instead of letting go and searching for the pole again.
Most people, well, maybe not most people, but people without any sort of dance background, including me, would mostly just feel really uncomfortable with any type of movement. So how do you get out of your own head and stop judging yourself, going like, oh, this looks weird? Especially like because in studios you're in front of a mirror.
Oh my God. I think you're speaking for like almost every pole dance, for the majority of pole dancers. Yeah. This is a very common issue. And I've had this too. I still have it, The moment I put on the camera, it's like, damn, I was dancing so good without the camera. And then I put it on and I started becoming like super self-aware. Now the question is why is this happening and why you judge yourself? So there are expectations, and there's the idea of what a good movement is supposed to look like, and what a not good movement looks like. And it's not bad to have a vision of what a good movement is. You just need to change a little bit the narrative from telling yourself, oh my God, that sucks. Oh my God, that feels so weird. That is so bad, so embarrassing, to switching to pure like curiosity, wanting to learn and to understand, okay, how is this person doing that? Wait, let me look. What is this person doing differently than I do? How can I do it? And let's say if you're comparing with someone, or you want to learn a specific like quality of movement, because there are different qualities of movement. Yeah, edgy, flowy, soft. They all have like certain character, and they all have certain beauty, right? So it's good to know that. I wouldn't say there's like ugly movement. This is kind of like subjective perception. But yeah, if you want to make it pretty or something you feel comfortable with, then be curious. Ask the question, how can I get there? Like more like problem solving approach, Yeah, and
yeah, I really like that.
And take off any pressure, like maybe I don't know, maybe if you're just starting out, maybe don't put on the camera, maybe don't use the mirrors. I like using the camera and the mirrors when I'm exploring a new quality of movement. So I do want to capture it. I want to look at it and I want to see, what went well, what did not well, how can I improve it? I always recommend doing this self-evaluation of your videos. What I like, what I don't like, and then how can I improve it? Like super, like objectively as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is one thing. So someone I follow, he actually teaches more like business and finances, but it's something he said, and I think that is very true also for dancing, is to get confident, you need to get competent. Yeah, so you just work on these skills, and it will get better and better. And I think he even says to get comfortable, you need to get confident, and to get confident, you have to get competent. And I think that's true for everything.
Just a lot of practice.
Yeah. But also it's a lot of course, practices with everything, but a lot of like a little bit of mind switching from judging to curiosity, and just switching the questions, how you ask the questions in your mind.
Is there a point where it ever stops feeling awkward? Can you speed that up in any way, or will you always feel a bit like,
Absolutely, there's a point where it stops feeling awkward. Absolutely. There will always be those things that will feel awkward to you, right? There will be always those things like, I don't like this one trick or move, or I know I have a student, she does not like body waves, pole dancer who does not like body waves. And yeah, it's and if you avoid that, and if you're not putting the work, there will always be that thing that's going to feel awkward. So you don't need to work on it. And if you want, for it to stop feeling awkward, or finding help, someone to teach you this. And I think, and once you watch it more, do it more, it does stop feeling awkward. There's also in dancing, when you're learning, let's say you are dancing a choreography of someone else, teacher's choreography. That is always a bit more tricky than dancing your own choreography. It always feels like someone else's job and or piece or art, and it's difficult to dance it authentically, because it's like someone else's moves, and they're like, you can personalize, you can, for example, see if you can find a personal story that you relate to make that choreography feel yours and not awkward. And there's also different approach to depersonalize if you're too self-aware. Sometimes that's better. So in this case, imagine that you're telling the story of someone else. Imagine that you are directing a movie. Your job is to tell the story in the best way possible to convey the message, to touch the viewer, but you are not the main character. You're just directing the movie. And sometimes personalizing would work good, and sometimes it would be better to just depersonalize.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I imagine that stuff like improv and free dance would help a lot with your flow. Do you have any tips on working with that?
Yeah,
Getting better at that?
absolutely. Yeah, actually, good. Yeah, very good that you are talking about improvisation. Very important topic. when you're trying to improve your dancing skills and just generally for pole dancers. I have several tips. One is to always try to have a focus, one thing to focus on in your when you're freestyling. That could be the music. The music is always there for you, right? If you mess it up, it's something you get lost. You can always get back to the music if there is a music, but usually there is. So you can focus on the beats, on the accents, on the melody in the music. You could focus on one body part. Let's say, if I notice that I'm pretty stiff in my upper body, like my chest is not moving, then you can use that as a task or prompt. Freestyle, like teachers usually use a prompt. They give you a little like task while you're freestyling. So when you do this on your own, you're giving this yourself, these tasks, these prompts. So it could be more head, more chest fluidity, but make sure it's one focus, one thing to focus on. And like the other tip is, I've noticed like most students who are starting out with improvisation, their goal would be, and this is often done in pole dance classes, I'm gonna play 1 minute of a song and you have to dance for that minute, or a full song. Yeah, that is kind of like the goal. I think that this is not enough. In those first 3 minutes, your body is just getting warm. I personally am still quite a bit in my head in these first minutes. For me, the magic happens a little bit later. It takes time for the mind to let go and let the body take over. So I think 2-3 songs, 10 minutes is much better, gives much better results. It's time well spent. It gives you bigger benefits and you learn more and faster than, let's say, every day 1 minute free dance. So I would do longer sessions.
Yeah, that's
And
a really good point.
Yeah, and it will always feel a little bit awkward, and there are good days and bad days. It really depends on kind of like the mood of your day. Sometimes you are a lot in your head. Sometimes you feel more intensely, and then it's possible that these improvisation sessions are actually better. I think my best ones are when I feel kind of like heartbroken. Because I feel more intensely.
You feel the emotion, yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a good outlet of emotions. I would say there are days where it's better or easier, actually, and there are days where it just feels more difficult. But try to eliminate any pressure, camera and mirror. And start, if it feels like you're setting it up a lot, because that could make it, feel a bit weird. If it's okay, that is the setup, now I have to do it. Maybe start putting improvisation in your everyday life, or adding improvisation in your everyday life and your everyday tasks. For example, when you're doing a laundry and you're listening to music, start to groove. Maybe if you probably if you're in the mood, start dancing. So use these moments, this kind of like inspired moments, or this kind of like light moments where there's no pressure for you to do it or to perform or to showcase anything.
Yeah, and put together like a playlist of your favorite songs so that you can, just maybe pop it on randomly and
Absolutely.
when you feel like it.
That is so important. Yeah, that is so important that you like the music, and because I hear a lot students that when either well improvisation games or just choreographies that yeah, I don't like the music the teacher is playing, and that's it's not teacher's fault necessarily. That will always be like different, different tastes. So yeah, so do use your own your favorite songs.
How do you stop freezing up? Because I remember the first time, yeah, the instructor's like, okay, just free dance, and we're like, and it was really hard not to just stand there because I'm like, I don't remember anything that I've ever learned.
What was going on there when you in your head? What happened and in your body?
Mostly fear, mostly
Fear.
fear. Just
Uh-huh.
yeah,
And you thought that you forgot all the moves that you know, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that is very that is common. So freezing because like forgetting moves is that's why I think that it's not good to rely on what you've learned or on the moves. I don't think that you should freestyle thinking about, okay, what move can I do? What can I do next? That's certainly important. Like, it's something you fall back to when you're a beginner, to what you know, because you're not as imaginative at the beginning and you don't have very big vocabulary. But what you're describing happens also to advanced students or students who have enough vocabulary. It's just not possible to remember everything you know and to pull it immediately or instantly out of your pocket, out of your body, even if you know a lot. Um, Instead, I think what you could do is you can explore different variations and nuances of things you already know. It is very common that while you're improvising, the only thing that comes to your mind is a dip and a pirouette, a dip and a pirouette. Your go-to moves. That is totally fine. How can you do these go-to moves differently? There's so many things to play with. You can change the levels, like you can do it high, you can do it low. This would get you somewhere else. You can change the speed. You can change like doing it on the right leg, on the left leg, changing directions. If you freeze, maybe the first thing maybe is calm down, take a minute. You're probably overwhelmed, and stay there, calm down, maybe release the paw, and pick one thing, like focus on something simple. Go back to the simple things. Fight for simplicity. You don't have to make it complicated, and because obviously you're a bit overwhelmed when you're freezing. Start again with a simple movement. Maybe it's not a pole move. Maybe you're off the pole and you're just moving, you're doing a head roll. And you repeat that. It's okay, it's totally fine to repeat the same move. Repeat it, maybe for a while, and then see how it feels and see what would happen if you do it maybe bigger or more accentuated. How would it change? And this would start getting you to something else and something different. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was also good, will get you a little bit out of your head. So it's not thinking about moves, pole moves, but try to explore something new and something different.
Do you have any specific strategies to approach how you like might translate the emotions that you want to portray into your dancing?
Emotions.
Yeah.
The question is like, is it like you could use dance just as an outlet for your emotions without caring if the audience gets it or not? So it could be very abstract, and for you it could feel that you are expressing yourself and your emotions, and it's possible that no one can relate to this. Maybe it's a little bit abstract, maybe only you can relate to this. But let's say you want to make the audience feel a certain emotion, then you will have to put a little bit more thought to it. First, try to define the emotion a little bit more specifically, and the correlated feelings. There's always a span of feelings around one emotion. Like the easiest thing is to say, okay, it's positive or negative. For example, melancholy can be both positive and negative sometimes. Maybe it's negative when you are thinking of the past love affair, and you kind of like did they say the negative? The negative would be remembering the bitter end of that love affair. Or it could be positive, recollecting the good memories you had with that person, right? So negative, like sadness and concern, maybe would be related. And on the happy side, it would be joy and confidence. So be aware of like how much is into it, and then you have to really connect with that emotion on a personal level. This is the best way to tap into these emotions, is to think of a personal story. And really invent. If, let's say, you have a happy song and you really want to portray emotion, well, think about a story that makes you happy. Maybe you received good news that you've been waiting for, something important that you've been waiting that you've been waiting for a long time. Confidence is, a bit personal, but think about the last time you felt really confident. Maybe it was that last time you got ready for a party and you were wearing a gorgeous dress and you felt like $1,000,000. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's something more personal, maybe something more intimate. Sadness could be something like something more dramatic, like you received the news that your pet has died. or it could be just something more less dramatic, like you waited for a long time for your vacation, and then the weather, you realize it's going to be bad weather. But personal story helps to tap into these emotions and then express them more authentically, especially if you also use facial expression. Your face says a lot, and if you're authentically connected to that emotion, you would also be able to express it. And I know that you also interviewed Sergio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she said something in one pole dance summit, which is very true, and she said to make the audience feel any emotion. It's not enough to just play or show the emotion without the context. The audience needs to know your story. A story allows someone to put themselves in your
Connect
shoes
with you.
and to feel with you. And even if they've never been in that situation, just imagining them being in that situation makes them start to care and feel for you. So I think that is very important. Yeah.
Do you have a process for selecting music that might go with that?
Music for what exactly? For
Just
choreography or
to
for
go with
combo
your,
or?
yeah, your whatever you want to put together. So choreography.
Okay, yeah, because like for aerial combos, like I rarely have choreography already, or an emotion already that I want to express. I usually have the music first, yeah, and that inspires the whole piece. Yeah, it's rarely the other way around, that I have something and I'm looking for music to go with. But that's definitely the case when I've been working on an aerial combo, and I want to record a beautiful video with it, and I always want, even in the air, I want to make it match a music. I always have that kind of not challenge, but that ambition for myself to always make it go with the music. And in this case, I look for music. It really depends on the combo. It has to have, the same vibe. For example, if it's a fluid spinning combo, it will be more melodic song. And if it's a powerful dynamic combo, it will be more maybe beat heavy song. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do have often do an exercise where I have one choreography and I let students dance the same choreography to different songs. And yeah, when you do this, you realize that,
That's really interesting.
yeah, and when you do this, you can realize that the same choreography, you can make the same choreography express very different things. And you can make a choreo match any song. Just that some songs are a little bit easier and some are a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally you can express, one and the same move. I'm doing this, I'm creating a new master course about musicality, but it goes much deeper. It starts with understand the music, match the music, express the music. This is where also emotions, the emotions come in play, and then create. And we explore how one and the same move can express the whole variety of emotions and the whole variety of expressions. Like a simple pirouette, you can change just by changing the speed, changing the levels, you're doing it low or high. Let's say you can make it big and open to explore, to express maybe lightness, and you can make it also small and constrained, like as if you're stuck in a box, and that would express a heavy feeling. Yeah, so I think these variations, it's just simple moves, a pirouette or dip or whatever, just exploring different variations of it and see how these moves change like the whole expression and the whole appearance and the whole way how the audience sees and feels these moves. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah. No, I think that everything has been really helpful. If there was just one thing you could encourage pole dancers to take away from all of this, what would it be? Or just for flow in general?
Explore more your own body. Work on isolations. Isolation, it's not difficult. It's not as could feel awkward if you get too obsessed with the technical things, but work on this, and then from there, always try to see to find out how it feels. Not just doing it for the sake of doing it and hoping, okay, it will get in my body. Try to actually understand how it feels in your body, and what it means for a movement to feel good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's
That's
so many
cool.
things. So many things I
Yeah.
can. But yeah, that is a good start. That is a good start.
Just explore your own body.
Yeah. Maybe let go of the pole for a second, and then go on the pole. After that, just do these exercises. I often do that with my students. The warm up would be, a bit of a regular warm up. More practical to warm up the muscles. But then we will work on more expression. We will isolate the chest circles. We would do that same with the head. We would do with hands, with the fingers, and this really wakes up your body. And when you then go on the pole, usually there's a big difference. Your body, you are already aware. You've warmed up your body and you're already aware of it. And when you move, you are able to use more of these body parts that are now more moving or just dancing. Yeah, just being more expressive.
Yeah, and I know you have a ton of online programs to help with all of this. Would you like to let us know a bit more about it?
Sure. So thepoledancer.com is my website. And I recommend to sign up for my mailing list. First thing, easiest thing that you can do, sign up for my mailing list. There, through email, I share lots of tips, tutorials that I also post on my YouTube channel, free material, and also some options for paid material. You can sign up for my online classes there. The on-demand library is that's on the website. It's smaller than I have. Like I have lot of classes that are recorded, like full HD, not bad Zoom recordings. Actually well-made videos, and they are not on the website, but just use the contact form on my website and let me know if there's any class or any recordings from previous classes that you'd like to have on my YouTube channel. You're gonna see previous classes we've worked on for more advanced students on split illusions. There's always one focus, like split illusions, drops and tempos, spinning fluidity and flow. What do we have? A lot of around one move, let's say shapes and combos with brass monkey or with jade, bendy shapes that are a little bit more for back bending on the pole. In my YouTube channel, definitely subscribe there. Also the master courses that I mentioned, body awareness and fluidity, spinning pole demystified is one that's specifically for the spinning pole. For the people who been working a lot on static and don't know how to control the spin momentum or finding it hard. And also the one that I'm working on musicality. These master courses are also not on my website. I only launch them once per year and only per email. So sign up for my mailing list. And yeah, on Instagram, you're going to find me as Miglena.thepoledancer. Basically, everything is the pole dancer. Just on Instagram, I have my first name.
You are the pole dancer.
The domain was available back. Just the domain was available back then when I started 6 years ago.
Lucky you.
And it just got stuck with me, so I became Miglena the pole dancer.
Make sure to go check that out, guys. And Miglena, thank you so much for being our guide on dance and flow, and thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Thank you.
And we've reached the end of our adventure today. So until next time, remember to stay strong, keep pushing your limits, and embrace your individual journey. Don't forget to grab your free access to the Pole Adventures Compendium, a collection of incredible resources to help you progress on your pole journey. And if you enjoyed today's adventure, make sure to leave a review so other explorers can embark on the journey with us. This is the Pole Adventures podcast, and your next adventure awaits.